All right, well, thank you for joining in. We decided to do this webinar a while back. As you can imagine, we do a lot of implementations, work in a lot of accounts, see a lot of different accounts. And one of the things that we notice is there's all these little nuggets and gems inside of Salesforce. Some of them you have to pay extra for, but some of them are free. Many of them are free. And so we just decided to kind of host a little top 10, and with one as a bonus, items inside of Salesforce that everyone should know about and can really help accelerate your sales. So first one that I want to talk about is called Next Best Action. And so if you'll go to that slide. So Next Best Action, it's basically going to display recommendations inside of Salesforce based on record criteria, meaning you can kind of set different things on your record, different things that will trigger these recommendations, and they'll pop up, and you can kind of see it there on the right hand side where it says Einstein Next Best Action, and it's recommending that you auto renew, that they auto renew. And so maybe they realized that this customer was coming to the end of their contract or something like that. And then one of the things I really like about Next Best Action is that it can be tied to third-party apps, and it can be tied to automation. So it may be kind of hard to see on the screen, but right there below that recommendation is a simple button that just says accept. And so if this recommendation is tied to some automation, maybe when you click that accept button, it automatically sends them a contract for renewal. It can automatically set forth a sequence of triggers inside of Salesforce. And then many of the third-party apps are now tying into this. One that we use a lot is Conga, and it sends out proposals and contracts. And so this would be a great example if you were suggesting that they auto renew. Maybe Conga then sends out that document, or DocuSign, or something like that. It has a pretty low bar to accessibility. If you have Essentials, which is Salesforce's entry version of Salesforce, most of our clients are going to have Enterprise, or at the very least Professional, but Essentials and up, you've got access to this, and it is free. It doesn't cost anything extra to go in and start adding these actions. Once you have it, any licensed user inside of Salesforce can have access to it, but you do need an administrator to go in and set it up. And then as far as how hard is this to set up, it's actually very easy to kind of turn on, and it's very easy if you're a Salesforce administrator to add that component, that Einstein Next Best Action component, to your page. But I did kind of put the slider more towards the difficult slide, because Eric, if you go to the next slide, you do kind of have to have an understanding of how flows work, and how you kind of have to do a little bit of whiteboarding ahead of time to say, all right, what's the scenario and what do I want those triggers to be? But it is declarative. It is click and drag, and on the slide, we have a link in there to Trailhead, and Salesforce Help has some very great guides that walk you right through it, and we'll click you right through creating it. All right, so the next hack that we kind of want to talk about is high velocity sales. This is one of my favorite things that Salesforce has come out with in a long time. It does cost extra. It is something that you have to purchase per user that's going to do it. But what it is it's cadence driven actions and guidance. And so if you go ahead and click to the next screen, I did the same little screenshot there, but a little bit bigger, so it's easier to see. Basically you can queue up leads and contacts on a recurring program for calls and emails, and you can kind of see there on the left, it's as simple as clicking it. If you go in and you click next to John Gardner, that little email icon, then it's going to pull up an email template that you already have in place, and you can send it. If you click on the little phone icon, it can integrate with different click to dial solutions. Salesforce has one called Lightning Dialer, but then Vonage actually has a really great one too that integrates with it. and has some nice little bells and whistles and that tie into it, like call coaching and things like that. Those emails can be automated. So it can be where you want the rep to actually look, what emails am I supposed to send out next? Or they can even go out automatically, like say as soon as you complete a phone call, that email can go out. So as you're working with your leads and contacts, you just add them to these cadences, and you can have multiple cadences. You can have lots of cadences. So an example might be the first time you ever talk to a customer, then maybe you add them to a sales cadence that sends out an email. It was great to talk to you, and then it queues it up for that sales rep to call them back the next day. Those cadences can have branching in them. So based on their behaviors, if they answered the call, if they didn't, if they said they were interested, if they were not interested at all, or if they opened the email or clicked on it, then you can actually branch those cadences off and kind of drive what they're going to do there. Go ahead and go to the next screen. So this just kind of zooms in and shows you a little bit. Again, you see that work queue on the left-hand side. It's very rapid fire. So if you have lots of leads and lots of contacts that you want to follow up with on a regular schedule, when you log into this work queue, you can kind of see it there right on the left side. I've got 3 introductory calls to make. I've got 2 first emails to send. And so you can boil down this list very fast. And the little screenshot on the far left kind of shows you an example of the email template. So as soon as you click that email icon, up pops that email template, and those can be either editable or you can make them not. You can lock them if you want. But I like them to be editable because it gives you a little chance to add some flavor. It was great talking to you yesterday. Man, too bad about those Astros. Something like that. And then on the right, you see the little pop up. What happens if you click the phone icon? So that's where it's going to pop up, and it's going to start the call, and you can put your call notes right there. On the middle there, you see a call script. Maybe a newer rep or a new program, you might want that call script to actually guide them through what to say and make suggestions. And then a really great feature with Lightning Dialer or Vonage is you can leave a voicemail. And so if you miss them, you can have pre-recorded voicemails that you can leave. And so again, very, very rapid fire, very quick. Go ahead and go to the next slide. So this is kind of what it looks like to set up. Again, it's very easy from a technology side. You need, we help clients go in and get this set up. You a little bit of know-how on getting it installed and activated and the right licenses assigned. But then it's very accessible. It doesn't even necessarily have to be a Salesforce admin. You can delegate this to somebody, maybe somebody in marketing or sales support or something like that to build out these cadences. And you kind of see right here what that cadence looks like. And this is a very simple one, but I want to start the cadence with that first email, and then I want it to trigger a call, and then I want you to wait 4 hours, and then I want you to do a follow-up call. So you can imagine how you could put all kinds of waits. Those waits could be 6 months, it could be a year. Maybe you have a customer that you want to check in with once a quarter. Then you might, wait 3 months and then schedule the next call or the next check-in. These can also be automated, meaning you can add somebody to a cadence through workflows. And so let's say that you win an opportunity, you win a new deal. Well, maybe that kicks off an onboarding cadence that you want to follow up with, or maybe you lose a deal. And you want that to kick off a cadence. This is, hey, sorry, we didn't get to work together this time, but looking forward to working together, next time. So just a lot of really neat things that you can do there. All right, so let's go on to the third hack, and that is Sales Cloud Einstein. And so Salesforce, I'm sure you couldn't have missed all the news and all their announcements, but they have invested literally billions of dollars into data science and acquiring companies that have a lot of artificial intelligence built into it, all with the goal of giving you more insights into your data, what's going on, and making that actionable and predictive. We've kind of had this history where we would look at reports and dashboards, what happened, And then we kind of moved into an era of more real-time information. What's going on right now? What should I be doing right now? And now what's really exciting is getting into predictive. What should I do next? And even prescriptive. What should I do about that? And what's going to happen next? Um, Very recently, with the latest release, Salesforce did release what's called a global data model. You might start to see that kind of pop up on some of your admin notifications. You can opt out of it, but in addition to just looking at the past history of what your lead flow looked like and what your opportunity flow might have looked like, Salesforce is actually letting you tap into these global data models and kind of benefit. And those might fit your company and they might not. And so you can kind of play around with that and see what makes sense for you. But let's say globally, if you make 10 calls to a lead and they don't call you back or answer the phone, that's probably going to end up disqualified. And that probably applies to most companies. And so that's data, global data that we could benefit from. It does require enterprise and up to use SailCloud Einstein, so it's not available with professional. And it is an additional license. You do have to purchase Sales Cloud license as a per user license, but it does show up in a couple places for free. I'm going to show you here in a second. Opportunity scoring, everybody has access to that. That's a Sales Cloud Einstein feature, but you don't have to have a license to access it. And then lead scoring, which you can kind of see there on the screenshot, that's available with some add-on products like high velocity sales. So if you have Sales Cloud Einstein, you get lead scoring, or if you have high velocity sales that we talked about earlier, you get that lead scoring. And you can see a great example there, what it looks like on a lead. It's saying we're going to score this as an 88, and here's why. The industry is consulting, and you have a lot of success with consulting companies. They're in Pennsylvania, and we're in Pennsylvania, so that works really well. And it's the right sales department, and they have enough revenue to buy your product. So it's looking and it's learning from your data in Salesforce and telling you, is that a good lead from you? Of course, you got to feed it data, and so that all of a sudden some of these fields and things on leads become a little more important. You can also tell it what to ignore. If there's fields on the record that you don't want it to include in the data scoring model, then you can exclude that. Maybe title doesn't matter to you at all, but you could say, well, don't add that into the score. Let's go and go to the next slide. So we just saw what it looks like on a lead. Here's what it looks like on an opportunity. And so same kind of concept. You see the Einstein score up there, and it's giving you what's positive. It's moving really fastly through the stages. So you got some deal momentum. But it is kind of dinging you a little bit because you've lost deals with that account in the past. And another feature that I really love about the opportunity scoring is you can add it to your list views. And so that opportunity score can be, you can sort by it and say, I really want to tackle my highest scoring ones first, or I want to look at my lowest scoring ones and see if there's anything I can do about that. You can also add those insights that you see on the opportunity to the list view as well. In fact, in my own Salesforce account, I have a list view that says only show me opportunities with insights. And so I can kind of quickly see if things are happening. So go ahead and go to the next slide. You also, when you have Sales Cloud Einstein, you get a pretty big upgrade in forecasting. And so you see here on the home page, it replaces that. If you use that chart on there already, it replaces that with one that gives you a little more insight. Here's my Einstein prediction. You see there it's showing 527,000, that's what Einstein's thinking you're going to win on your opportunities. So if your sales rep's telling you, hey, we're going to win $1 million, Einstein's kind of looking at those and saying, not so fast, I'm not so sure. And then there on the right, you've got all these insights. And so it's serving up news. It's telling me here that Amazon's having a merger. There's some leadership changes at Microsoft. And then we don't see it on this screenshot, but it also will show you opportunities. This opportunity is getting better. This opportunity is getting worse. This opportunity is past the close date. And you can just kind of quickly click on those little X's and dismiss those, or you can drill right into that record and make an update or an edit. Good example, an opportunity past the close date, that I might click that and update it right from the home screen without really drilling into it. And I can also chatter on that post. Another thing, you don't see it here in this screenshot, but another thing that these insights will serve up is recommended contacts. And that's another feature that I use daily. It'll tell me that, hey, Bob Smith at this company, there's emails between you and him. Do you want to add him as a contact to Salesforce? And most of the time, as a matter of fact, I do. And so I can click on that and add that contact quickly to Salesforce. And then also it'll make recommendations. Do you want to add this contact to an opportunity role? And so maybe when I created the opportunity, I added a couple roles to it, but new people have joined in the conversation. Sometimes I forget to go back and add those, and this will pop up and make those recommendations. So go ahead and jump to the next slide. So this is just a view. We saw that forecast chart on the home page, but now in addition to that, it's when you go to the forecast tab, if you use this forecast tab, which you really should, it's a fantastic feature, you get a pretty major upgrade on that, because you can see here by rep, by month, it's giving me that Einstein prediction, and then it's giving me like why it thinks it's going to have this much business that's going to get pushed out, thinks it's going to have this much business that gets pulled into the current quarter. So really gives you a lot more insight into that. So the fourth hack that we're going to talk about is called Prediction Builder, and this is it's kind of similar to the next best action, but this is looking at different values and history that you have on data, and it's predicting the value of a field. And a really great example, you can see it on the top of the screen there. It says there's a 27% likelihood of attrition. So you create a field and you say that, you call that field, how likely are they to attrit? And then you can use Prediction Builder to predict that based on all the other fields and all the other data. And so again, when you build it out, you pick which fields it should consider, which fields it shouldn't consider. It works really nice, and you might notice this is the same screenshot as I had for next best action. It works really nice in conjunction with next best action, because if there's a 27% of them attriting, then maybe the next best action is to put them on an auto renew program, so they just automatically renew. Now it is something that you have to purchase. It is an extra cost, but every single account gets one free prediction. And so they kind of give you a try one free, and most companies, they only need a couple predictions, and so that's actually a pretty nice little bonus and freebie in there. Now the degree of difficulty to implement, it's moderately difficult. You have to go in and kind of it's Salesforce has done a great job of putting some wizards in there and some click through and some guidance. And so if you're just kind of patient and you go through those setup steps, it walks you through it, and it even critiques your prediction. It'll kind of tell you, do you have enough data? Do you have enough fields? But again, it is kind of a whiteboard exercise. You really kind of a little bit of a head scratcher to sit down and kind of figure out what I want to predict and how I'm going to feed that. But it's also easy to make make adjustments to it as you go. All right, so with that, I'm going to hand it off to the next host to talk about the next hack.
I want to interject just for a second, in case anybody has any questions or anything like that. We will have a question and answer session at the very end, but you should have the ability. And Katie, maybe you can chime in and give quick instructions on where to post your questions. And we can monitor those. You want to chime in for a second?
Yes, so there should be a Q&A button at the bottom of your screen that will send questions directly to us, the moderators of this discussion, or you can also use the chat feature if you have something. We'll see it either way. So anytime if you have any questions, you can feel free to send them ahead. We'll probably wait until the end to the dedicated time for questions to answer, but just go ahead and send them as they come up.
All right.
Perfect. Sorry to interject.
That's okay. Thank you, Katie and Eric and Paul, for all that. So my name is Christina Nava. I'm going to be doing the next few hacks. And what we're going to be going through are things to make your life just a little bit faster when you're trying to find things and see certain things. So the first one is favorites. So whenever you think of favorites, most people think to, I'm going to favorite this web page in Google because it's something I go to all the time, whether it be your email, your login for Salesforce. We can do the exact same thing when it comes to Salesforce records. So what you can do is, say you have a account that you go to all the time. So you can open up that account in Salesforce and click on the little star, which is up at the top right-hand corner. So you have now favorited that record. So no matter where you are in Salesforce, after you've logged in, you can click on the little arrow next to the star and you can see the list of records that you have actually favorited, and you can get to them a lot easier. You can do this with any record in Salesforce. You can also do it with reports and dashboards. So it makes things a lot easier to find. So every single version of Salesforce can use this. All users have access to it. Nothing needs to be turned on. It's just literally as simple as finding your record and clicking on the little star to favorite it. It's extremely easy to do. And I highly suggest you start using it today because it can make your life just a lot faster and a lot easier. So the next one we're going to talk about is having to do with your list views. So we are mostly used to looking at what's called the table view in Salesforce. So we may go to our opportunities or our accounts or our contacts, and we're used to seeing this, and it's extremely helpful. We can create our own customized list views. We can see the columns we want, and so we can very easily, at a glance, see a whole lot of information. But we can actually do something a whole lot more fascinating with this list view itself. So the first one is actually the split view. So to change to the split view, you're going to click on the little display as button. You're going to see a couple of options, and you'll select split view. From there, you're going to see what's on your right-hand side. You're going to see your actual list view, that table form with a few less fields on your left-hand side. And then once you click on a record, you're going to see that on the right-hand side. So you can very easily just click on record after record, and you can keep that list view up on your left-hand side while seeing the details on the right. So for example, if you want to just quickly look at a bunch of details on opportunities, this is a very quick way to do it. Same thing with cases. This is used very often with cases. You can have a list of all of my open cases on the left-hand side, and then open them up individually, one right after the other, and see them on the right-hand side. So this can help you be very efficient if you're going to be going through multiple records kind of at one time. Now the next one, which is called Kanban view, or Kanban, depending upon how you want to pronounce it, is going to be showing you again that same information, but in a much different visual. What you're seeing here is we're looking at the all opportunities list view. So it's the same list view we were seeing on the other ones, but it is showing it in each column based upon the stage that the opportunity is in. So very quickly, at a glance, I can see that I have 2 opportunities in prospecting and 3 in needs analysis. Then not just that, I'm seeing a total, a running total up at the top there for all the opportunities that are in that stage. So we can very quickly, at a glance, see here, how much we have in each stage. To change to this Kanban view, you're going to click on the same thing, that display as button, and click on Kanban. Now that gives you what we're seeing on the left here, which is those columns. The next really fascinating thing we can do right here is we can turn on the details by clicking on this little, looks like a page, it's your details button. And we'll see that little right-hand column. What this is doing is it's showing you some high-level details for the record that you click on the left. And then for those of you who are using the path and the guidance for success in your opportunities, we're going to see that as well. So if you had opened an opportunity and up at the top you see your path, and if on your path you see those lists of records in your guidance to success, you're seeing those exact same fields right here. And notice we can edit them. So just like we could use the split view to quickly go between records and potentially edit them, we can do it with specific fields here as well. So we can click on an opportunity on the left, and if you have the path and guidance to success set up, once you click on your details button, you'll be able to go in there and, for in this example, quickly edit the description in the next step. So you can quickly go between all of your individual records and update and see what's going on. The other thing that I absolutely love about Kanban view, and I could not get a screenshot because it's very hard to do, is all you have to do to update the stage is you click on one of these and drag it over to the next column. And right there, you have updated your stage. So we can look at this and say, all right, this one that I'm on, it's actually in the proposal stage. I'm just going to click and drag it over. You don't have to open it up. You don't have to edit it. It's just a click and drag. Absolutely fascinating. I love Kanban view. All right, so the next one we're going to talk about is the customizable nav bar. So we're all used to looking at our Lightning app in Salesforce. And if you kind of look on the right-hand side here, in my example, this is our default nav bar. We have our home, leads, accounts, contacts, and opportunities. Well, just like we can favorite a specific, a specific record or report that we want to go to, you know, that's great. But what if I want to take this a little bit further? I want to customize my Salesforce for me. So this is extremely easy to do. All versions of Salesforce have it. Now, the one caveat is it does need to be enabled by an admin. And you know it's enabled because you actually have across the top where you see your tabs, there's going to be a little pencil. And you can actually, that's how you know you can edit it. And I have the red arrow pointing to that. So to edit this, what you're going to do is you're going to click on the pencil, and this is not looking correct. That step 2 should only be on there once. But step 2 would be you're going to have a box pop up, and you're going to click on add more items. From there, your next step is going to be to click on the little plus sign for what you want to add. Now, something I want to point out here is with the favorites, what I talked about is adding records and adding, say, reports and dashboards. What we can do with the nav bar is we can actually add other objects. So in addition to the leads, accounts, contacts, and opportunities, I may want to see my calendar, or I may want to see dashboards in general, not a specific dashboard. So if we had clicked on favorites, we can actually add those individual records to our nav bar. But we can also, within the all, we can add individual objects as well. So you're going to click on the little plus sign and then click on the add new items. And then what happens is the very last thing, once you go back to your main screen, you're going to see those new items pop up. So what I have blocked out here in red is a specific record for an account, but I also have the dashboards object. So what I'm trying to show here is you can bookmark via favorites, but also we can add them to our nav bar to just make navigating a lot easier. All right, and then the final hack I'm going to talk about is going to be Einstein Search. So we're all used to searching in Salesforce. We just go up to the top of global search and start typing in what we need. We hit enter, and we have all the results kind of pop up on our right-hand side. Well, once Einstein Search has been enabled by your admin and you have been given access to it, so I do want to point out that Professional, Enterprise, Performance, and Unlimited editions have access to it, but you do need to be given access as an individual user by your admin. But once you do have access, once you go into your top global search and start typing in, it's going to look a lot different. So not only is it going to start popping up things for you to look at before you have to hit enter, and it's going to do it in a much different way. Not only does it look different, it's going to react differently. So for instance, if I start typing in Acme as a account, if I'm a salesperson who is based in Connecticut and there are a lot of Acme companies, we have a whole bunch, it's going to start showing me the ones based in Connecticut first. It's going to start learning who I am, and it's going to start personalizing my search results to me. So that way I'm not just shown all 50 Acme accounts, I'm showing the ones in Connecticut first. So again, you're just going to start personalizing towards you. If you start searching for the same account time after time after time, it's going to realize that that's the one you're going to more often than not, and it's going to start bubbling that account up to the first, to the top. In addition to having those personalized results, the next thing it's going to do is it allows you to search using natural terms. So I can actually start typing in open cases for acne. And it's literally going to show me all of the open cases for acne. I don't have to type in acne, go to the account, and then go to cases and see all of them and then sort them at that point in time to see the open ones. I can just literally start typing in what I need. And then the next really fascinating thing is, if you can see from the screenshot here, if you just start typing in Will Smith, you can move your mouse down over to the contact, and then look what's happening on the right side of this screen. I can see all of the related quick links for this contact. I can see all of the contact information, but I also have buttons. So directly from here, I can click on edit, or I can click on new opportunity, or I could even click on new case if that was one of my options. So the Einstein Search is really giving you the ability to find what you need a whole lot faster, but also be able to action on it right there. So it's really helping you to do what you need to do a lot faster. And that was all I had. So next I'm going to hand it off to Eric.
Thank you. I want to mention real quick, there's the whole hover option as well. I do this a lot when I'm looking for something on a particular account. You can actually hover over the opportunities or the cases here, and it'll pop open a list view of those cases on top of your search here. So you don't have to actually drill into the actual contact or account and then find the related cases, but you can do that from here. I find that pretty convenient. All right, so we have 8 down, 3 to go. The next one, hack number 9, dynamic forms and conditional components. These are technically two different features that are actually pretty well related. And I'm going to dive into an actual demo here, but what the dynamic forms is and the conditional components. Let's start with the dynamic forms. So dynamic forms allows you to move your fields around on your record page, and you can split your fields out any way you want. And so if you're an admin and you're familiar with the page edit, you have this new builder for your fields that you can drag and drop all of your fields onto the page wherever you need it. Now, the neat thing about dynamic forms is that you can use it in conjunction with the conditional components feature. So conditional components simply means some of these components can be hidden or displayed based on certain logic. So let's say, for instance, that my Dickinson account just signed an SLA. I want to make sure that this SLA is displayed prominently on the account, so that whenever somebody comes to the account, they know that Dickinson is a gold SLA subscriber, service level agreement. And so when I click save, I actually have a conditional component over here above the activity that right now is hidden. But based on the logic that I built in, when this turns to gold, it actually pops up a gold component. picture saying gold. So nobody's going to miss this. If somebody comes to Dickinson PLC and they're going to be servicing this account, it's very obvious that they are a gold SLA member of ours. And so I have created a conditional component that surfaces the gold, this rich text image when the SLA is gold. I have another component in here that it will surface a silver image if it's silver, and you can go through here and select whichever one you'd like, and it will surface different components that will hide or display those components. Now, where dynamic conditional components and dynamic forms come together is that each individual field is considered a component. And so you can actually hide or show a component or a particular field based on what it says. So right now, I come in and edit this, and I go, my term, unit, years, month, date for my SLA is blank. So when I come in here and click and select, I'm going to do it in years, you notice that the term length now shows up. And I can plug in, this is a 5-year SLA. Oh, start date and end date now populate. And so this is going to start on November 4th. Click save, and it's going to populate here. So all I did here was say that term length, this field does not show up unless there is a selection in term unit. The start date does not show up unless there's a number in term length. And so I have created conditions here that have allowed those to show up. Now, some caveats, and this is chapped a few people. These dynamic forms are only available. The ability to move these fields around and make them conditional is only available on custom objects right now. So you cannot do these fields, these form fields on the account or the contact or the opportunity or the lead. You can only do them on custom objects. But Salesforce has said that they plan to release that in March timeframe on account, contact, opportunity, and lead. So that is good. But our basic use cases for these are to really guide users, make sure that only the fields that the user needs are on this page. A lot of times that drives adoption. If a user comes into the page and sees a ton of fields and they have to scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll, sometimes they don't fill out all those fields. And so this is one way to make sure that only the fields that they need at that moment in time show up, and they're more encouraged to fill out more information. And we all know the mantra, garbage in, garbage out. So we're trying to keep our data clean. All right. So the next hack we have here, oops, we went backwards, is the related record detail. So I'll talk about this real quick. This has been around for a while, and we had a good conversation about it this morning, but related record details is actually a Lightning component, which is any one of these little blocks that you can put on the page. It's a Lightning component that allows you to surface details of, you guessed it, a related record. So this is actually on an opportunity, and I'm surfacing some of the account details. In the past, it's been common to create a field that is simply a formula field, and it says, okay, if the account is a type customer channel, then I will make this field type customer channel. But in this case, we can actually surface the original field from the account, and you can even edit it from here. So it's rather simple to do. You drag and drop the component. You select which object you want it to display. The one key here is that you actually need to set up what's called a custom action on the object you're trying to display. So for that reason, you do need to be an admin to actually configure it, but users will be able to use it. It's available on all Salesforce editions, and so it is very, very helpful. One of the other items that you can actually use this for, and I'll jump back into my demo here. We'll go into, okay, we're already here in our account, Dickinson. So you'll notice that in the details page, everybody's used to seeing the details for the account. So here are all your fields. Well, with this related record details, I can actually have another tab over here that pulls out some key fields that I want to display separately. So now I can take these fields off of the details page and put them onto the industry info tab. And I did this with one of those related record details components. And so I was able to move that. I'll go back to our opportunity here where we're showing the related record. So you'll notice that I actually brought the account information onto the page layout here. So it's fairly seamless. When I'm on an opportunity, I can scroll down and see the account information. I can also surface it like you saw in the screenshot, just over here in its own component or not. Now, what I have done, just as a little, here's something you can do. Let's say that there's not an account on the opportunity. I'm going to click Save here. I actually have this component here that's supposed. This is the same exact component, the related record details component, and it's recognizing that there is no account attached to this opportunity, and so it's prompting me to relate an account. So as soon as I click on the account I want to relate, it drops it into that field, and that now disappears because I have all the information I need right here. So it's pretty nifty. There's a lot of use cases there. One of the things that we are going to mention is we'd love to hear your use cases as you're using some of these things. And if you have, like we said, if you have questions, we'd love to answer them as well. And then the final hack. The final hack is InApp Guidance. So there are two flavors of InApp Guidance, and I'm going to just talk through this. I don't have a live demo of this, but there are two flavors of InApp Guidance. One is the simple prompt. All license types, all Salesforce editions have this. This is simply on this page, bring up this prompt, and then show your users or tell your users something. This is a way to, if you have a user, if you have a new feature or if you want to give some instruction on how to do something, you can create a prompt that pops up and explains it to them. You can determine how often they see it. You can say, I only want this prompt to pop up between this date and this date because it's about an event coming up. Any sort of thing that you want to just pop out to your users. The prompts is included on all of our license, on all of Salesforce's license types. Salesforce, as of this new release, actually last weekend, now has walkthroughs. So you can actually create a series of prompts that take them through how to do different things. This is really helpful for new users who are trying to learn how to create new accounts or contacts or opportunities. The caveat here is that you do require an additional license. My Trailhead, it's a fairly new SKU, and so you'll need to contact your Salesforce account executive for that. But it does look like they are offering 30-day trials of My Trailhead. So if you're an admin, go in, poke around with it. Really helpful for end users to learn how to do things. Really helpful for if you're trying to tell people, don't forget to do this, or there's an upcoming event. Relatively easy to set up, no development needed. An admin does have to set it up, but all users will be able to see it. Or you can specify which users you want to be able to see it. So that actually concludes our 11 hacks here. We want to make sure that we have time for questions and can answer any questions that y'all might have. Paul or Katie, do y'all want to jump in and kind of transition?
Sure, I can jump in. My name is Katie. I am the marketing coordinator over here at the Fury Group, and I just wanted to let everyone know, I'll give a couple more minutes in case anyone wants to jump in with a question, but in the meantime, I wanted to let you know that this is the first of many, hopefully, on our Hacks webinar, so thank you so much for joining us, and if there's anything in particular, a particular Salesforce product or anything like that that you'd like to learn more about, that we would love to hear about it so we can make sure that these webinars are tailored to what our customers want to hear about. So please feel free to reach out to us at any time. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. All of those will be linked on the final slide of this presentation, but you can also find us at just www.thefurygroup.com. There you'll find an overview of kind of all of the different Salesforce products that we specialize in, but there are also many forms you can find on the website to send us your information so we can get in contact with you if you have a more specific use case or question that you want answered. We can do that for you. So as I'm still not seeing questions roll in, I'm just going to take that as a sign that our wonderful presenters, Paul, Eric, and Christina, were very thorough in their explanations. But once again, if any questions come up later, you can reach out to us on our website, on our social pages. We will keep an eye out for that. And also, a quick comment came in about a confirmation email or link to the webinar after registration. Thank you so much for letting us know. We can look into that. We actually just recently migrated to Zoom, so this is kind of our first test drive, so that feedback is very helpful. Thank you so much for sending that in.
Yeah.
The only other...
Yeah, and
oh, sorry, go ahead, Eric.
I was just gonna mention, like you said, Katie, we do plan on having another one of these probably in November, I think. I don't think it's scheduled yet, but we are planning another one, and we would love to highlight additional use cases. And so if any of y'all take any of the things that we displayed today and talked through today and find a good use case for it, maybe it's unique, maybe it's different, we would love to hear about it, and we could potentially talk through it and use it as an example in our next one.
Yes, so true, Eric. Thank you for pointing that out. The only other thing that I was going to mention for our attendees who are here live is this is, as we promised, a virtual lunch and learn. So after we wrap up here, keep an eye on your email inboxes. We will be sending a Grubhub gift card so you can have lunch on us as a thank you for joining us live. We really appreciate that. But if
Awesome.
that is all, once again, we're always available for questions via our website or our social pages, but if there aren't any other comments or questions, we can go ahead and wrap up here, but we'll stay on.
And we're going to send out a copy of the presentation, right?
Oh, yes. You'll also be receiving in an email after the fact the PDF version of this deck, so you can check out all of the links to the different trainings that we mentioned as well.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much for attending.
We look forward to next time.